right?
Okay, Madhuri.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Creative Weekend Talk, episode 178. I'm your host, Sai Madhuri, and it's a pleasure to have you all join us today. At Creative, our vision is to bring constructive thinking across various At Creative, our vision is to bring constructive thinking across various domains. We focus on non textual, non academic, and non syllabus concepts, encouraging discussions that go behind conventional learning. As a registered trust, we are committed to fostering intellectual exploration by inviting experts who inspire curiosity and innovation. Today, we explore an interesting topic, archaeological glimpse of Karnataka. To discuss this topic, we have Dr. V. Shobha, Professor and Head, Department Ancient History and Archaeology, Manasa Gangotri, Mysore. At Creative, organize online weekend talk every Saturday from 3 to 4 p.m. on the Zoom platform. We also live stream our talks on Creative GBD YouTube channel. So feel free to revisit this session or share it with fellow science enthusiasts. We have Creative volunteer Pratiksha with us to give a brief introduction about Shobha ma'am. Pratiksha?
About Shobha, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am began in May in 1999, PhD in 2006 at Deccan College, Post-Graduation Research Institute, Pune, and joined as a lecturer in Department of Study in Ancient History and Archaeology, University of Mysore. In 2007, Shobha ma'am participated in excavation and exploration at sites across India and directed excavation at few sites in Karnataka like Tekkalakotte, Ballari, Budipadaga, Chamarajnagara, Doddalattutuvu, Chamarajnagara. Presented and published several papers on various platforms and journals. Ma'am's PhD thesis is on early historic archaeology and the Upper Kaveri Basin with special reference to the district of Mysore. And her experience on today's topic will help us to understand this weekend talk with out of further ado. Let's welcome Dr. Shobha ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank
Pratiksha.
you, Pratiksha. It's a pleasure to have you, ma'am. Ma'am, Shobha ma'am, are you there?
Yeah, thank you.
Over to you, ma'am. You
Yeah,
can continue now.
yeah. I am unable to share my screen. I am seeing a box saying host to disabled participant screen sharing. So I've been trying to share my screen, but
Just a second, ma'am. I will make you as a host.
yeah. So good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for this opportunity to interact with you all and share some information about the archaeology of Karnataka. So I hope I'll be able to share my PPT now.
Yes, ma'am. You can.
Okay, yeah. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Shall we continue?
Okay, ma'am. We can.
Yeah. Yeah. So ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. My topic is a few glimpses of archaeology of Karnataka. So today, archaeology has caught the attention of one and all, thanks to the media and also the sensational discoveries of recent times. So there's a greater awareness about this field of study among the general public today. But this was not the situation 3 decades ago, when I decided to pursue archaeology as my career. So it's been my passion all through. So archaeological research in Karnataka has a history of about 200 years. So this research started in Karnataka sometime in 18th century. So in these last 2 centuries, we have discovered hundreds of sites belonging to various cultural phases and achieved several milestones. And because of this prolonged research, we have a fair picture of the cultural history of Karnataka. But since you're a diverse group, the audience is diverse from various backgrounds, I am presenting here only a few facts which I feel would be of some interest to you. In this presentation, I have selected sites from both prehistoric and historical periods. And you may be aware that prehistory is the period when writing was not known. There was no script. So the first site that I'm talking about is Isampur. This site belongs to the Paleolithic period. In the common man's language, it is an old Stone Age site. So you're, familiar with this term, Stone Age, rather than Paleolithic. We archaeologists, we call this period as Paleolithic period. And this is the earliest phase of human history. And Paleolithic period or Old Stone Age is the period when humans led a hunting-gathering lifestyle. And the archaeological evidence that we find at these sites are mostly stone tools. And sometimes, if we are lucky, we will also find animal fossils. So coming back to Isampur, it is located in Shorapur Taluk in Yadgir district. It falls in the valley of Baichabal. Baichabal is a small stream which ultimately joins the river Krishna. And the site of Isampur was discovered in 1983 by Professor K. Padaya, who you're seeing on your screen now. So in this site, came to light accidentally. There was a thick deposit of black soil over this site, and which was removed by the irrigation department for some purpose. And, it is like this, the site came to light. And this is an undisturbed site. We archaeologists say that the site is in primary context, that it has not been disturbed by anthropogenic or natural factors. And this site was excavated by Dr. K. Padaya of Deccan College, Pune, between 1997 and 2000. And he happens to be my research guide also. So here you are seeing a few, views of the excavated trenches at Isampur. And on the right, you are seeing the stone tools. These are tools, not weapons, right? So there are hand axes, cleavers in these photographs, which were, collected not only from the site of Isampur, but also from other sites in this valley. And these tools constitute the main evidence to reconstruct the history of Paleolithic period or Stone Age. What is so special about Isampur, right? What is unique about this site? So in the excavation, Professor Padaya found quite a few animal fossils in association with stone tools. He found fossils of cattle, deer, and he also found a few turtle shell fragments. And the fossils can be dated by scientific method. So he sent some fossils for dating, and the date he got was 1.2 million years ago. That is 12 lakh years. So which means early humans occupied this site 12 lakh years ago. That is very, very significant, right? So, and such early dates were known only from Africa. In India, Old Stone Age or Paleolithic period had been dated between 7 lakh and 3 lakh years ago. And with this date of 1.2 million years, the antiquity of India was pushed back by another 5 lakh years. So this site placed India on world prehistoric map. That is very important. And this site enjoyed the position of being the oldest site in India for some time. But a few years later, another site in Tamil Nadu was excavated. That is the site of Attirampakam, which gave us a date of 1.7 million years. So since then, Isampur, which is in Yadgir district in Karnataka, is considered as the second oldest site in India. That is its importance. So the history of Karnataka is at least 12 lakh years old. So from Isampur in Yadgir district, we'll move to T. Narsipura, which is in Mysore district. T. Narsipura is a Neolithic site. Neolithic is New Stone Age. And Neolithic period occupies the fag end of prehistoric period. And it is during Neolithic period, humans abandoned hunting gathering way of life and shifted to or took to sedentary lifestyle. They settled down at one place. And this led to the emergence of villages all over India. And in addition, we started practicing agriculture, domestication of animals during Neolithic period. And we also learned the art of making pottery in Neolithic period. So in India, a strong rural base was established during the Neolithic period. So T. Narsipur belongs to this Neolithic culture. So where is it located? It is located in T. Narsipur Taluk, on the left bank of the river Kaveri at its confluence with its tributary Kabini. So it is located at the confluence point. And it was excavated by one Dr. M. Sheshadri, who was a professor in my department in Mysuru between 1959 and 1965. Some 70 years ago, the site was excavated. So you're seeing the view of the site here. It's on the other back of the Kaveri, right? And this is the site, which threw light on the Neolithic ways of life in southern part of Karnataka. So the Neolithic culture at this site has been dated between 1800 BC and 1400 BC. But the human habitation did not stop here with the Neolithic period, but it continued for about 2000 years, until the early historic period, that is 1st, 2nd century CE. So the site was occupied for a period of about 2000 years from Neolithic up to early historic period. So what is interesting about this site? So the most interesting and unique objects recovered from this site are headdress. So now we are seeing a photo of the headdress that has come from the excavation at T. Narsipur. A large number of such headdress were found at this site. So they had been found some 200 years ago by one Robert Bruce Foote at the same site. He had found them on the surface, not in the excavation. And Robert Bruce Foote is known as the father of Indian prehistory. So when he was surveying the site of T. Narsipur, he came across many fragments of this headdress on the surface. So he suggested that these could be headdress, but he was not sure of their age because they were on the surface. So he was clueless about the antiquity of these objects. But when T. Narsipur was excavated by Sheshadri, a complete specimen of headdress was found in a burial belonging to the Neolithic culture. So you're seeing the photo of that burial on the right side, right? So it's the burial of a female aged between 25 and 30 years. She was buried in a pit, shallow pit, with head facing east, and both her hands were placed on her abdomen. You can see that it's very clear in the photo. And near the head or ear of this female, a headdress had been placed. So with this data, with this evidence, it became clear that headdress were funerary objects and they belong to the Neolithic period. So that is very important, about T. Narsipur. And equally interesting
Are you
is
connected, sir?
such headdress have been found only in Karnataka, that too in Neolithic context. They are not known from any other regions in India, except, they've been found in Egypt. I think you're seeing one photo here of a headdress of turquoise, blue turquoise, which has come from the tomb of Tutankhamun. And some tribes in Africa, they still use such headdress. So they are known from Karnataka and from Egypt. So based on this similarity, some scholars in Karnataka have proposed connections between Karnataka and Egypt during Neolithic period, but we need more data, evidence to validate such claims. So we'll shift to Hallur. which is in Dharwad district. It is in Hirekerul Taluk. It is on the left bank of the river Tungabhadra. It is again a Neolithic site. It belongs to the same culture as T. Nasipur. And this site was excavated in 1965 by one Dr. M.S. Nagaraj Rao. So this site, like T. Nasipur, was occupied, for over 2000 years, from 1800 BCE up to 1st, 2nd century CE. So we see several cultures at this site, including Neolithic culture. So what is special about Neolithic culture? So when Nagaraj was excavating the layers belonging to Neolithic period, he came across several mud floors, earthen floors, which belonged to huts of the Neolithic people. And on one such floor, he found lumps of carbonized grains, charred grains. And upon examination, these grains turned out to be that of ragi. This is the first and earliest evidence of ragi in India, and it has come from the site of Hallur from the Neolithic context. And the excavator has, dated this evidence to about 1600 BCE. So ragi was known to the Neolithic people of Karnataka. So they were cultivating ragi and they were consuming ragi. So, and Hallur is the only site till now which has given the evidence of ragi. We have not found this evidence from any other site in Karnataka as well as from other parts of India. So the history of ragi in Karnataka can be dated back to 1600 BC. That is the, one of the significant results from the excavation at Hallur. So from prehistoric period, we'll move to the historical period. So you're seeing the edicts of Ashoka here, right? So traditionally, historical period in India commences from 3rd century BCE, when the great Mauryan emperor Ashoka issued inscriptions. His inscriptions on stone constitute the earliest physical evidence of writing in India. You may be aware that his inscriptions are mostly in Brahmi script, which is regarded as the mother of all modern Indian scripts, and the language is Prakrit. But in some parts of India, and also in Pakistan and Afghanistan, he has used other scripts like Kharoshti, Greek, and Aramaic. His inscriptions have been found throughout his empire. His empire occupied almost the whole of India. It was a very large empire. And his inscriptions are known from at least 45 places across India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Bangladesh. In Karnataka, his edicts have been found at 9 places. Ashokan inscriptions include several types. There are, we have categorized these inscriptions into types. So in Karnataka, we have 2 types. They are minor edicts and major edicts. So this is the famous edict of Ashoka at Maski, which is in Raichur district. I don't know if you are aware of the significance of Maski edict. So majority of the Ashokan edicts mention only his epithet, that is Devanampiya or Devanampiya Piyadasi. But in Maski edict, in addition to his epithet, his name Ashoka is also mentioned. This is very important. You see, the inscription here, it reads Devanampiyasa Asokasa. So this edict was discovered in 1915 by one British officer. So with the discovery of this edict, we came to know that Devanampiya is none other than the great King Ashoka himself. And later on, at 2 other places in Karnataka, that is Nitturu, which you are seeing here, and Udegulam, we found that the name of Ashoka is mentioned. So in 3 places in Karnataka, his edicts mention his name. That is very important. And these 2 photographs are from Sannati. And these inscriptions belong to the major rock edict category. Major rock edicts of Ashoka are a set of 14 edicts, 14 inscriptions. It is a group of 14 inscriptions. That's why we call it a major rock edict. And it has been found at Sannati in Gulbarga in Karnataka. And out of this 14, number 13 refers to Kalinga War. And you are all aware that Kalinga War was a turning point in the life of Ashoka. After this war, he is said to have embraced Buddhism, right? So number 13 gives a description of the Kalinga War. So what is interesting is, you all know that Kalinga is modern Orissa. Ancient Kalinga is modern Orissa. In Orissa, we have found major edicts at two places, Dhavali and Jaugada. At both these places, number 13 is omitted deliberately. It is not there. 12 is there, 14 is there, but 13, which talks about Kalinga War, is omitted. Similarly, at Sannati in Gulbarga, number 13 is omitted. We have 12, we have 14. Why 13 is omitted? We don't know. So it's really mysterious. So this is about, the inscriptions of Ashoka. And as I told you that, in Karnataka, we have found his minor edicts at 8 places and major edict at Sannati. So it is important to note here that excluding Bihar, which formed the heartland of the Mauryan Empire, such a large number of Ashokan edicts have been found only in Karnataka. In no other states you have such a large number of edicts of Ashoka. They are there in Karnataka. What is the reason? We don't know. We are still investigating. Some scholars, have opined that Mauryans probably wanted to monopolize the gold resources that are available in Karnataka, and that explains, the number of edicts in Karnataka. And some scholars, suggest that Mauryans probably wanted to procure iron objects from Karnataka. Iron objects were available abundantly in Karnataka at that time. So for that purpose, Ashoka got so many edicts set up in Karnataka. So these are all, various presumptions. So we are still investigating, why they are in such a large number. Okay. Sannati. This is another important site in Karnataka, and it is associated with Ashoka, right? Sannati is in Gulbarga district. It is in the Chittapur Taluk. It is on the left bank of the Bhima River. It is very important. It's a very important site because so far in Karnataka, this is the largest and richest early historic site, discovered. And it was occupied for about 600 years between 3rd century BCE up to 3rd century CE. So no other site in Karnataka has, this extent or cultural, significance. And it was also, one of the largest Buddhist centers, not only in Karnataka, but in entire South India during the Satavahana period, that is 1st, 2nd century CE. And it is also said to be a provincial capital of the Satavahanas between 1st and 2nd century CE. Sannati is a huge site. It's an archaeological complex. It covers an, distance of about 5-kilometer radius. It's a group of many sites. And one of the sites that falls under this complex is Kanaganahalli. So Kanaganahalli was discovered in 1994, and it was excavated between 1994 and 2002 by Archaeological Survey of India under the direction of Dr. Punacha. And the excavations here brought to light a very beautiful stupa, which is in ruins now. You can see only the foundation part here. And this stupa was known as Adholoka Mahachaitya, as evident in the inscriptions that were found at this site. So it was a very impressive stupa. It was built of bricks and limestone. It had a diameter of 26 meters, and probably, the height of this stupa was about 17 meter. It was an imposing structure, and every inch of the stupa was decorated. The exterior walls were decorated with panels, huge panels that consisted of sculptures, right? And the stupa was surrounded by a pradakshina patha. And several statues of Buddhas were placed, all around the stupa. So that is why, Sandati was an important Buddhist center of Karnataka because of the evidence that we have found at Kanaganahalli. What is special about this Kanaganahalli stupa? So I told you that the exterior of this stupa, the walls of the stupas were decorated with huge panels, sculpted panels. Each panel measures about 10 feet in length. And all of these are placed in Sandati itself. Please visit Sandati if possible. They are, setting up a museum there, and all the remains are, have been housed there at Sandati itself. And one of these panels, shows a royal couple whom you are seeing here, flanked by lady attendants, chauri bearers. And interestingly, on top of this panel, there is a label inscription, small inscription, which reads Raya Asoko. So this sculpture, this portrait sculpture belongs to Ashoka. This is a very significant discovery. There is no parallel for this so far in India. Nowhere in India we have found a portrait sculpture of Ashoka with label inscription. And he is shown in another panel also. I don't have the photo of that. I just have the, illustration of that panel. In this panel, Ashoka is shown worshipping the Vajrasana, the empty seat of the Buddha. And below this is an inscription which reads Raya Asoka. So there are two panels in Sannati, Kanaganahalli, which contain the name of Asoka. And one of these is a portrait sculpture of Ashoka. So this is a very significant discovery. And another interesting, aspect of Kanaganahalli stupa is, so about 300 inscriptions were recovered in the excavations at Kanaganahalli. And all these inscriptions are donatory inscriptions. They talk of various donations made by, people from different backgrounds to the stupa. And out of the 300 inscriptions, 60 inscriptions have been issued by women. Now, 20% of the donors at this site consist of women from various backgrounds. They are mentioned as Grihini, Natika, Bhikuni, and there are also names of royal ladies, right? Grihinis, you see the names of Naguya, Sudhama, Nanda, Mitra, many more. And Bhikuni are lady monks, Inscriptions mention the name of Dharma Rakshita, Buddha, Pushya, etc. And interestingly, we also have, donations made by Natikas or dancers known as Govidasi, Valuki, etc. Now, evidence as these make us think or rethink about the position of women in ancient Karnataka. So, we'll move to Rajghatta. Rajghatta is located in Bangalore rural district. It is very close to Dodballapur. It is 8 kilometers northeast of Dodballapur. And it was discovered in 1974. And it was excavated by our department in the University of Mysore during 2000, 2001 and 2003, 2004. So the excavation brought to light a Chaitya Vihara complex here. So I hope you know the difference between a Chaitya and Vihara. Chaitya is the temple, Buddhist temple, place of worship. Viharas were hostels for the monks. So in this excavation, the excavator, Professor M.S. Krishnamurthy, unearthed remains of a Chaitya Vihara complex. In addition, he also found a large number of votive stupas, right? So this is a view of the Chaitya hall that was excavated by him. So you're seeing the Garbhagriha here, a stupa in the center, and there was a Pradakshina all around. And this Chaitya was enclosed by a Prakara wall. And to its east was a row of rooms which constituted the Vihara. And the Vihara was provided with a bathroom as well. And the entire structure is constructed of brick. And the outer walls were all plastered. They were painted in red ochre. And the parts of walls were also decorated with limestone structures, stucco structures, and architectural mountings. So, and in addition, a large number of votive stupas were also found at this site. More than 300 such votive stupas were found in a heap, huge heap. Votive stupas are offerings, made by the devotees to the god. So all these are made of clay and they are sun-dried. And each of these votive stupa included, inside it, a small clay tablet, circular clay tablet. You're seeing that here, which consists of a Buddhist shloka, Buddhist hymn. It is in Brahmi script, and the language is a mixture of Brahmi and Prakrit. And the script, has the characters of 4th to 6th century CE. Based on this script, this Stupa Vihara complex has been dated to between 4th and 6th century CE, which is the Ganga period in Karnataka. So, and the excavator also found a medallion, clay medallion, on which God Buddha is depicted. So these are the remains from this site. So what is the significance of this site? So in southern Karnataka, we have very scarce evidence of Buddhism. There are some inscriptions of the Kadambas which refer to Bauddha Vihara and words Buddha, but we don't have actual physical evidence for that. And Rajagatta is the only site in southern Karnataka which attests to the presence of Buddhism during the early historical period. So this is the importance of this site. So this is the last slide. So you are seeing here the inscription, famous inscription of Dekabbe Shasana. It is a Sati stone, Masti stone, Mahasati stone. Who are Mahasatis? So Satis were those wives which embraced death following the heroic death of their husbands. So they sacrificed their lives for the sake of their husbands who died a heroic death. So this inscription of Dekabbe was found in Belaturu, in Hegadedevankote Taluk in Mysore district. It is still there in its original place. It has not been removed. You can see it if you visit this village. So this inscription was discovered in 1898. And when it was discovered, it was lying flat on the ground. So only the script part was visible. So the script was copied and published by B.L. Rice. So we have known about this inscription for past 150 years. But it was only in 2010 when this slab was lifted up, did the scholar notice, Professor Parshivamurthy, that the other face has the sculptural representation. So this is a unique and rare combination of both textual narration as well as sculptural representation of a story of a sati. So this inscription speaks of one virtuous woman, Dekabbe, who sacrificed her life when her husband Echa died in a battle. And she was dissuaded by her parents, by her relatives, not to take that extreme step. But she was very determined and she willingly embraced death. So this entire text, it vividly describes the episode that led to Dekabbe committing sati. It gives the background of Dekabbe, her husband Echa, and the scenes related to battles. It describes it gives all those details. And finally, why and how Dekabe committed sati. And interestingly, this story is depicted in sculptural form also. You are seeing here several panels. In the lowermost panel, she is being taken in a procession accompanied by musical instrument to the place where the pyre is lit up. And above that, she is shown giving away all her ornaments, and she is making donations. And then finally, she is entering the pyre. And the third panel, shows her being taken to the heaven. She is ascending. And finally, she is one with God. So this sculptural representation is very, very rare. Majority of the sati stones in Karnataka, they don't have texts, they don't have inscriptions. You don't get the names of the women who committed sati. So they are found only in sculptural form. The stone shows one raised hand attached to a pillar, and that symbolizes the woman, sati. You don't see, text accompanied by sculptural narration. So this is a rare evidence from Karnataka. Friends, archaeology of Karnataka is a very vast subject, and I have presented only a few facets of it in this presentation. I hope, it was of some use to you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. It was nice actually. So, can we take questions, ma'am, if any?
Yes.
So, participants, if you have any questions, you can raise your hand, or else you can put it in the chat box, or else you can unmute yourself and speak. Not only questions, we allow discussions also.
Yeah, if you have any questions related to archaeology of Karnataka, you're welcome. Not just about the sites that I have presented, anything related to Karnataka archaeology, you're most welcome.
Is there any questions?
Okay. Vishaka is asking which of these sites can we visit? Yeah. Sannati, you must visit, right? You can see the remains of the stupa over there. You can also see the edict of Ashoka at Maski. At all the edicts you can visit. They are well protected and they are under the care of Archaeological Survey of India. But Halluru, T. Narsipur, yeah, they are mostly destroyed now. You can see, some parts of the sites, that's all. But edicts of Ashoka and Sannati, yes, you can visit.
Any others? If you don't have any questions, let's end the session.
Yeah, I think, yeah, we can conclude.
Okay, ma'am. Shubha ma'am, thank you for your time here. It's really an informative session. Thank you all the participants for your participation. Thank you one and all.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Supriya, for this opportunity. And I thank all the participants. for your patient listening. I think I concluded it too soon. I did not want to make it very technical because, I was told that you're from different backgrounds. So it was probably too simple. If I had added more information, I could have stretched it for another 10 minutes. But